Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Well, one of the questions that I keep getting from you guys, where do I place jack stands? Good question. There's only one place you can put safely jack stands on a car. We're talking about cars because they don't have a frame like trucks and SUV have. See, this is an SUV, full-size SUV, and in our days there's only a few. Right there is the frame, as you can see. It's a big chunk of steel. That's a frame. On the cars or trucks and SUV with the frames, you can put it pretty much anywhere. On the cars, you cannot put jack stand anywhere because you're gonna damage underneath the vehicle. And let me show you a few things. Why, and I guess I will explain to you why I don't use jack stands on the cars. Look at this, I guess, how big. It's about an inch deep from bottom to the top. So if this was more a flat surface, it would have been better. That's why I don't use those jack stands on cars. This type of are not practical and not very safe. Let me show you where do you put your jack stands. So this is the rear of the vehicle. So this is going to be a raw video, unedited or anything. You see that right there? Let me get you a better view. That right there. This is where you put your jack. That right there, between those two cutouts. That cutout and that cutout. You put your jack, and that's where you put your jack stand. If you have Toyota or Lexus vehicle, you can lift half the car in the back or in the front. There is a right in the middle, in the back, right in the middle, in the front for a big jack that you can lift it up. If you don't have those big jacks, that's where you use the jack. You put the jack there or jack stand. I don't use jack stands on cars. I use blocks. You see the wooden block? I use either 4x4, 4x6, and I put it, see that right there? It looks like a frame running from front to back. That right there looks like a frame. It's not a frame, it's how the cars and mid-size SUVs and some full-size SUVs are made. This is where I put my blocks. When I'm lifting with the jack up there, putting the jack up there, right there, as you see, between those two cutouts, I put my wooden blocks somewhere underneath there. Let's see if I can get you a better view. And then slowly lower the vehicle, make sure nothing is being damaged or crashed. I was getting my vehicle inspected a few years ago at this smaller shop. I respect the guys and everything, but he did not put his where he's supposed to be, were those two cutouts, like here in the back. See those two cutouts in the back? He put it right underneath this, that right there, that frame rail, where I put my blocks. Yes, he put it in front, right underneath there, and guess what? He looked the car up in the air. I was standing and watching, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're not putting the car where it's supposed to be. Guess what? Do you see any damage? No. Because when you put underneath those frame rails, that right there, I guess that's what it's called, frame rails. I'm not quite sure. I'm not a specialist in the body parts. It's fine as long as it's not rotted or, you know what I mean, completely destroyed. And no damage. Got home. Got my flashlight. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna complain there. I didn't see any damage, so I got home, inspected. No damage, no scratch, nothing. So that's where I put my wooden blocks. There. If there is no frame rail exposed like this, you cannot put a wooden block. I would put a wooden blocks just like along the edge here, making sure that right there, it's like something higher, or maybe just, you know what I mean, something up there, So most of the weights it's supported right where it's supposed to be using wooden blocks. You can use jack stands. There's a good jack stands. I will post the links. A jack stands that have a flat surface, and there is actually and there is another reason why I don't use those jack stands, because metal here against the metal underneath the body, you scratch and you destroy the paint and it rusts. This car, as you can see, it's clean from rust. Why? Because I don't use jack stands and I make sure it's sprayed with NH oil. And I live in the salt belt. So let me show you the other thing, why I don't like those kind. This is the cheaper jack stand. As you can see, if you're gonna be lifting the car, you're gonna destroy. You see, it doesn't even fit there properly. You can use it, you can probably twist it. If you do it like that, you're gonna damage the floor, the body panels. If you're gonna do it like that, you can lift, but it's not safe, it's not stable. There is actual pads now available. So if you have a jack stand and surface more of a, it doesn't have this big cutout, you can use it in this direction, but you know what I mean. I would recommend getting pads. There's special pads. I'll post the links. You can check it out if you care. If not, you know what I mean. I prefer. They're now available. At that time when I was purchasing jack stands, I was purchasing them for my trucks and SUVs, not for cars. I prefer, even on my trucks and SUVs, I still prefer wooden blocks. I use the jack stand, but as a backup, I use the wooden blocks. You know, they work always. And I guess I did not finish my story. When I was getting my car inspected, actually for my truck, about 3-4 years ago, it was at the Jiffy Lube. And I was like running late in emergency, not an emergency, but kind of end of the month, and I got to get my state inspection done. Otherwise, you know, if I get pulled over, it's a fine and they can tow the vehicle away. So I get there, good price, but since the truck was too high and they couldn't get it up in the air with their short lift, they used the wooden blocks. Yep, like 6x6 or something. They use the wooden blocks and they lift the whole truck up. You know what I mean? If the wooden block can support a 7,000 pound truck, there is no doubt it can support a 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 pounds car. Unless you have a Tesla that weighs 7,000 pounds. So you know what I mean. Then you gotta be careful what kind of wooden blocks you're using, what kind of equipment you're using, because they're heavy. So that's pretty much it. You know, I'll post a link for a jack stands, very good jack stands. You take a look at it. That don't have this too much cut out. It's more of flat. It's good for cars, very stable, and I think they come with a rubber bushings or pad or something. You know what I mean? But you can double check. I don't recall. I know I seen them. I'll post a link. I'll post a link for the pads or yes, pads for the jack stands. So this is where you actually put them. Same thing in the front. You have those cutouts no matter what brand of vehicle you drive. They all have something that shows you something like that, where you put your either jack stand or your jack. But on trucks and SUVs, like I showed you here, you have a frame, and with the frame, well, you can put pretty much anywhere. You know, it's a frame. It's a solid 1/4 inch, 3/16 probably, depending what brand. Sometimes it's a 1/2 inch frame. On my Tundra, the lower portion of the frame is like probably 1/2 inch, if not maybe 3/8, maybe. I don't know even if it's that. It's so thick. It's unbelievable how thick it is. So that's pretty much how it is, how you lift or how you support your vehicle. You can use the jack stands. If you prefer, you can use the wooden blocks, but it comes down to personal preference. With the wooden blocks, like I said, you can put it right underneath the frame, rails, front and back. I guess I'll get a question. Is it okay to put jack stand underneath there? You know what? I don't recommend, because see the surface, we're talking about 12 inches of flat surface. On a jack stand, you get in what? An inch So you have a good chance of crashing it, denting it, making a dent in a frame rail if you're using a jack stand. If you're using a wooden block, well, you have a 10 times, 15 times, depending how long the surface area. So you just don't have that opportunity to crash or damage your subframe. So let me know what you think, how you guys lift, and what your questions you might have, or what questions you might have. And that's what I'm looking forward. This is the way I do it, and this is where car owner's manual tell you to put your jack stand and your jack right there. But I'm using the blocks, and I can safely, never had an issue putting it there on my cars in my many years. However, I had issues lifting cars, not my own, for friends. Were the jack stand, or were the for the jack, that point right there, when it was rusted. Now it wasn't just rusted; it was rotted. I could not. Starting to lift, it would just start crumbling, and I told the guy, I can't lift the car. You know what I mean? You can't put anything there. It's all corroded. So he ended up selling it and getting rid of it. So, well, thank you for watching, and have an awesome day. Drop me a comment what you guys think. Maybe you have some better technique than what I explained, and using it myself. Thank you.